Hello, welcome back to the Mercenary Miniature Painter YouTube channel. I'm Scott, and I'm here tonight with Anthony, who's brought along Tomb Kings to ambush my poor Dark Elves. So we're doing a bit of a rejig of the ambush scenario from the main rulebook. It's pretty much we're playing it as it is, where the defender is encircled and they have fewer points. But because we can't play with double points, because I don't quite have 4,000 points of Tomb Kings, we've done it so the attacker's got 50% more, but the game doesn't go on quite as long. So he doesn't need, basically the actual scenario states the defender needs to be completely wiped out, but we're just going to play until we get to the sixth turn as usual. But the main thing is, although the defenders are quite severely outnumbered, they just need to kill more than their starting number of points to get a win. So I need to kill 2,000 points worth of Tomb Kings to win the game. And the Tomb Kings just need to not have that happen. Either wipe me out or just make sure enough of their force is still going so that it counts as a defeat for the Dark Elves. So story-wise for tonight, the Dark Elves have wandered into the ruins of Khemri looking for some gold and some riches, magic items and whatnot. And to their horror, the desert has come alive. Skeletons and all manner of other things have burst out of the desert on all sides. So I'll go over the forces now. The Tomb King is in this unit of Tomb Guard here. So there's 24 Tomb Guard. They have the banner that lets them change direction on a whim, which is good because they can basically do a free reform or face any direction before they choose to charge. So they're quite difficult to flank and they're quite a maneuverable unit for Tomb Kings. He's followed by a prince over there who's got the Chariot of Fire for the D6 impact hits. He's in a unit of chariots with full command. They have a bone giant with a great bow, which counts as a bolt thrower. There's 10 skeletons over here with bows, a screaming skull catapult with skulls of the foe for that juicy -1 leadership on anything they hit. And over here, there's 3 carrion, another bone giant. This one's got 2 hand weapons, another 10 skeletons with bows, 21 skeletons with hand weapons and shields, and they've got the Hierophant in their unit. The Hierophant has got the Cloak of the Dunes, so he can fly and move 20 inches. He's also got a Hieratic Jar, which means it's a one use only. He can cast twice in the same turn. Then there's 10 more skeleton archers with a Leech Priest. He doesn't have anything extra on him. And then there's a full command chariot unit with 3 Ushabti behind them. And facing them down, I've got Lord Veruviel, a highborn, on his Manticore. He has got Heartseeker, so he rerolls misses, and he's got a Sea Dragon Cloak, heavy armor, and a shield. I've got a level 1 sorceress who has got Chillwind, and she has the Seal of Gron, so +1 dispel dice. I've got a level 2 sorceress here. She has got the Lore of Death, and she's got the 2 magic missile spells, so the D6 or the 2D6 version, and she doesn't have any other upgrades other than being a level 2. I've got 10 crossbowmen with shields, 2 units of 10 Corsairs with no upgrades, 2 units of Witch Elves, they're both identical with full command, 2 identical units of Dark Riders, and they've got musicians. And then I've got a Hydra, scary looking, but probably underwhelming if any other games to go by. Oh, I've got 10 more warriors with spears, and I have a single bolt thrower because I didn't have points for a second one. So Dark Elves are looking a little bit shady. Oh, I should mention as well, Anthony does also have 3 Tomb Swarms hiding here and 2 Tomb Scorpions hiding there. So that's not very friendly. Those are likely to pop out at some point, so that does make it quite difficult for me just to castle up. But yes, that's my army, and The defender goes first, so I do get to plink some shots off, but then ultimately I have to just weather the storm, so we'll come back after my turn. Quick summary of my movement phase. I'm not standing around waiting for them to come to me. Pretty much everything has moved up and forwards. A lot of it's come to this flank, but I have got a bit of holding action going over here with my more elite units going out that way, and then I'm going into my magic phase now. This young lady here is going to try a chill wind on these archers to try and take them out of commission. So I need a 5+ to cast, and I get +1 to cast because I'm Dark Elves, so I've rolled a 10, and she's going to try and dispel it. Roll that again, that's cocked. No, it does go off. It does 5 wounds. Well, 5 hits, I should say. It's only strength 3. So 4s does 3 wounds. The skeletons don't have any saves, so that's 3 dead, and they cannot shoot next turn, more importantly. The more powerful sorceress over here, the level 2, she's going to try and do Wind of Death on the big block of skeletons. So this one needs an 8+ to cast, but I do get the +1 still. And I get it with 13. So you've got 2 to stop it. You need a double 6, basically. No, it goes through. And it does a mighty 9. These will be wounding on 3s, as this one's strength 4. Oh, not great. 4, and you would normally get a 5-up save, but it goes down to a... Yeah, they've got light armor and shield, so it would normally be 5+, but it goes down to 6+. So you've got 4 to take, 4 6s. None, so that's 4 dead skeletons on this side, and that is the end of a fairly successful magic phase. Shooting, the crossbowman just plinked off one of these guys, and the bolt thrower did do a big shot, did hit the bone giant, but did not wound it, even though it was wounded on 3s. So that is the end of my turn. On to turn 1, Tomb Kings. So the Tomb King movement, again, pretty much everything moving up. The Prince over there is reformed for a potential My Will Is Done charge against my poor Hydra. And then over here, one of the priests decided he didn't want to get eaten by a manticore, so he's hiding. And the other one has just moved closer to the champion in his unit. Oh, there was a charge. The Carrion have come forward to take on the Corsairs. Alright, the magic of the Tomb Kings moved this unit forward. The Tomb Prince tried to charge, but I stopped that one. He rolled quite low, but I still used 2 dice because I did not want to risk it. This guy here tried to move these chariots, and I stopped that one as well. And then the Hierophant fired off some scary lightning bolts and killed 2 crossbowmen over here. And now the Screaming Skull catapult is shooting. What is he shooting at? He's going for the Witch Elves. Let me just get the scatter dice and the template out. Go on then. Oh dear, misfire. What does it do? Oh dear. So the cable snapped, killed one of the crew, and now it can't fire next turn. That's not a great start. Shooting was surprisingly effective despite the misfire at the beginning. So one of the crew died and it damaged itself. Can't shoot this turn. He hit the Hydra. Sorry, hit one of the Hydra crew and killed him. And then over here, these guys hit the Manticore but didn't wound this unit. Chipped away one of these. They failed to do anything, and they failed to do anything. Actually, wasn't as effective as I thought, to be honest. Combat now, though. You've got 6 attacks here. So you need 4s to hit. 3, 4. And then you need 4s to wound. 2. And I've got 2 5-up saves. Nope. So that's 2 dead. And I get 3 guys back. I don't have a champ, so I just get 6 attacks because they've got double hand weapons. Hitting on 3s. That's all of them. Wounding on 5s because I think you're T4. 5s. 2. So that's 1 dead carrion. And you lose by 1, 2. So you lose another carrion because I outnumber you. Did the same amount of wounds. I outnumber you, and I have a rank, and you get no bonuses other than your kills. So you did 2, I did 2, and then I get a 2 static bonus as well. So you lose an extra guy, and that's the end of that one. You obviously don't flee; you just crumble. So end of Tomb King's turn 1. All right, my turn 2, and I've got a few charges. The Manticore has come up to try and murder the Hierophant, even though he's in a unit. Over here, everything else is kind of engaged in blocking actions or trying to gum up the enemy. The Dark Riders have whizzed around the side here. They didn't fancy charging the Bone Giant head on. Over here, my frenzied Witch Elves have charged forward into the teeth of the Tomb Kings, and the Hydra's gone into the Prince over there. These ones have moved up, hopefully to help flank in the next turn. And the bolt throwers obviously stay put. Right, so magic was very effective. I got Chill Wind off with this lady here, and killed a single skeleton. But more importantly, this one here, Irresistible Force, Wind of Death onto the chariots, and wiped out a whole base. So that was a lovely. Now I'm on to my shooting phase, and my bolt thrower here is going to try and take out that giant on 2s because he's a large target and he's now within half range. So hits, needing a 3 to wound. No, doesn't do it again. He's got 2 big arrows embedded in him, and he's doing fine. So I've got a lot of combat, so I'll come back after the combat phase. Bit of a mixed bag, I'd say, for the combat. So yeah, shooting didn't really do anything more, and then into the combat phases. So the Witch Elves, I had an assassin in this unit. He jumped out. He had 5 attacks, and he had Manbane, so he was wounding 1 higher than the target's toughness, and he still did not do any wounds because the only wound I did do was Talisman of Protection. And then the Tomb King hacked him apart and just reduced him to little bits of gore. The Witch Elves did do 2 wounds to the Tomb Guard, but then they did a wound back, so I lost by loads. I needed a 4 to stay, and somehow I rolled a 3. So even though that's pretty much as disastrous as it could have been, I am still in the fight. The Hydras are always so underwhelming. I always look forward to getting them into combat, and of course he just did 1 wound to a chariot. But luckily the Prince whiffed all of his attacks, so I was sticking around even though I lost that combat. And then the Manticore got challenged, which I knew was coming, but I had to try and just hold out a turn. So I did easily smash him to bits. I did lose the combat, but only by 1. So Veruviel stuck around, and next turn that Hierophant is in trouble. And over here, the Carrion did do 1 wound, but it wasn't enough to stay because I wounded it back and therefore crumbled it out of existence. But there's some scary, scary scorpions in the ground. So roll a dice for each one on a 4-up. They're popping up this turn. So start with this one. He's coming. Next one. No. He's not, and the Tomb Swarm. No. Not, but there is a scorpion appearing. Where are they going? 8 inches that away. Uh-oh, hungry, hungry scorpion. Turn 2 for the Tomb Kings was pretty nasty, to be honest. The scorpion popped up and forced me to flee over here. The chariots there charged into the spearmen. And I think that was all of the charges, but there were other problems for me. So in the magic phase, the banner healed this unit back up to full. Sorry, we just realised we didn't do crumbles, and I just quickly gone around and we've done some crumble tests now, so it has gone a bit worse for the Tomb Kings. But anyway, what else happened? Your magic, after you healed up that unit, this thing moved up over here. They reformed. The Tomb King twice tried to get attacks off for his unit onto the Witch Elves, but I stopped them both. The chariots did nothing. Oh no, sorry, they healed one back, which was a problem for me. And then into the shooting phase, the Bone Giant hit and wounded the sorcerers, and then somehow only rolled one for his D6 wounds. So, or D3 wounds, I don't remember what it is, but either way, she still survived. So she's lost an arm or something, but she's fine. Apologies, I did realise that I've lost my frenzy, so my brain's not working today, so I should have broken last turn, but it didn't end up mattering because the Tomb King absolutely butchered the elves and ran down the witches. So he got them eventually anyway. Over here, the Hydra did take a wound from the Prince, that he did destroy a chariot back and tied the combat. And most importantly was the Manticore killed the Hierophant, but then because it wasn't a challenge, because there was already a challenge in that combat in the previous turn, I did lose the combat and I've run away. So the skeletons are hot on the pursuit, but they did crumble a little bit. They only lost one. To be honest, the crumble wasn't too bad, was it? You got a couple of archers there. They were fine. They were fine. The main loss was the crew of the catapult. They've crumbled away. The chariots did roll quite high, but the Prince, I forgot his leadership 9, so they only took one extra wound, so they're still in. Everything else weathered it, so it's and then the chariots here trashed the spearmen. They killed 5. I wasn't able to fight back, so I ran away. Anthony strangely chose to restrain, so he might have a plan up his sleeve, but I have got a chance to try and bring them back now. So it's looking a bit hairy. I should say these are dead, so they are not there. And that's it. Turn 3 for the Dark Elves. It's gone a little bit better, to be honest. So the Witch Elves charged the archers there and mowed through them, and they went off the board, so they'll be back on next turn. They let me down. They were the only bad thing, really. They failed fear checks. They didn't go anywhere. This unit charged the 10 archers that were here, and they did enough wounds to crumble them out of existence. These guys charged the skeletons. They whiffed all their attacks. Well, actually, no, they did well, but Anthony made all of his saves. He made 3 saves, which, of course, I'm outnumbered by Fear Causer, but basically I just needed something to try and chip away that unit. If they'd have gone through, they'd have killed the archers. It would have made the sacrifice worthwhile. Unfortunately, that was a bit of a flub, but never mind. And then in magic phase, I managed to blast another chariot out of existence. Well, it's the same chariot, but he's just healed it back last turn. And over here, the Hydra finally woke up and smashed one chariot to bits. And because it was the banner, I actually won by a significant margin. And then so I did 3 crumble wounds, which took out the champ. And has put 2 wounds on the 2 wounds that were already on the champ have moved over onto this one. And that's about it, really. These guys moved away from the giant. I'm just hoping he can't catch me next turn. And I'm hoping those scorpions stay under the ground for a little bit longer. So Anthony's turn 3. Turn 3, and although both lots of creatures under the sand came up, I'd say probably a bit disastrous turn for the Tomb Kings. Not anything they can't come back from, but not a great turn. So the skeletons over here crumbled into dust because of the Hierophant being gone. Everything else was fine. These guys charged the Manticore. These just moved forward a few times with magical shenanigans. These charged the back of the Hydra. And these guys just kind of ran forward to come and threaten things. where it went wrong, so magic, nothing of note actually went off. This unit healed itself up a little bit. This unit moved itself forward. The prince tried to get some attacks, but I stopped it. And the chariots wanted to do a charge, but I stopped that one as well. And then no shooting. The only shooting was the bone giant trying to finish off the sorceress, which he failed to do. And then the combats were where it went very wrong, because Veruviel did do some wounds up here, and even though he still lost the combat, which was pretty much a given, he did roll low enough to stick around. And then, more importantly, the Hydra finally killed the prince. It did survive the curse. It didn't do any wounds to me. And then that's put 2 crumbles onto the swarms here. So even though he is stuck there, which is a bit frustrating because he's probably like my one hard-hitting thing left now, he should hopefully be able to chew through those swarms in no time at all. So it was on to turn 4 for the Dark Elves, and I want to try and break out of the trap now before the Bone Giants start to smash into me. Turn 4 for the Dark Elves. The breakout is beginning. So the Witch Elves will come back on over here. The Spearmen charged the chariot in the flank there. These guys turned around here with the lady over there jumping out. These guys charged the back of those Spearmen. They rallied. They turned around. They rallied. They didn't recruit the machine, though. They've jumped behind there, so they're not going to get immediately eaten by the Scorpion. You're going to make him chase them around a little bit. And then magic phase, I did a wound with my first spell on this one, and then Anthony did stop me from doing Wind of Death, so I didn't get anything else. Shooting, nothing managed to dent the armor of the Scorpion. Over here, I did do a wound to the chariots, but that was only enough to draw, annoyingly, so those spearmen are probably toast next turn. But this combat went a lot better. I killed 4 skeletons and crumbled another 4. So that's quite nice. And over here, I took out a swarm and then crumbled a couple of wounds onto another one. So all in all, not terrible, but also the Bone Giants are yet to really hit me, and the Scorpions as well. So there's a lot of... my thin line is crumbling a bit faster than I'd like now. Turn 4 for the Tomb Kings. Didn't go brilliantly. Over here, well, it started off all right, because this Scorpion charged the crossbowmen, who fled but didn't flee far enough. They needed to go 6, but he caught them and ate them. Bone Giant charged these guys, but they did escape his wrath. The Bone Giant here just moved up this way. And the Ushabti... well, actually, no, so the crumble stuffed you up a bit, didn't it? It killed one of your chariots, so it meant that because it was the one closest to them in combat, they had to move to keep in combat, which meant they were slightly out of arc of the charge of the Ushabti, so they just turned around to face. Magic phase, you did try to charge me in the flank, but I did stop that one. The only one I actually got through was the movement spell on this one. The Banner of the Undying Legion, actually, so I did bring back 6, and then they lost a lot of guys in the combat, but that was enough to keep my Manticore tied up for a turn, which means the Bone Giant isn't getting a reckoning, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for you. If I charged you, I might just be handing you my lord on a platter. I'm not sure. It could go either way at the moment. Witch Elves are back over there, obviously, but the Bone Giant hit the Sorceress and then rolled a 1 to wound her, which means that's twice now that she survived being hit by the Bone Giant's gigantic bows. So she's just got these comically sized arrows sticking out of her feet. And yeah, that's it. So it's my turn 5, and I think I might actually be able to inflict a bit of damage. I should be able to get rid of those skeletons this turn. I don't know what I'm going to do about that Scorpion. But yeah, let's see. Oh, I forgot as well. The Hydra made short work of the swarms. He burned out, did 4 wounds, which took out a base, and then the other one crumbled. So yeah, on to turn 5. Pretty good turn 5, to be honest. Witch Elves charged that Bone Giant. Corsairs passed their terror test and charged this Bone Giant. Can't remember if there were any other charges. I don't think so. These guys rallied. And then in the magic phase, well, so I've zipped those Dark Riders back there. In the magic phase, the sorceress here blew up the Tomb Scorpion after 2 successful spells on it. So he only barely killed it, but did kill it. Hydra's coming back this way. Over here, the Witch Elves lost 2 of their own number, but they got quite a couple of poison attacks. So they did a few wounds on the giant, and then because they've got rear charge, a banner, all these other stuff, he's only got 1 wound left. And then this one here didn't go as well for me. I did win the combat though. I lost a couple of guys in the process, but not enough to do any crumbles to the Bone Giant. So, and then I wiped out the skeletons at last. So I'm in a good place for a last turn. But yeah, I still got a few things that need to die if I want to get this through. That brick there is worth quite a few points. So we will see how that goes after Anthony's turn 5. Turn 5 for the Tomb Kings. Not a bit of a mixed bag, I guess. So what happened? The Tomb Kings unit moved up over here. That turned around there. The Ushabti charged their spearmen, who ran away. And that was really all they could do in the movement phase. Magic, the Tomb King tried to get his unit forward twice, and I stopped it twice. Just one diced it both times because you rolled quite high the first. You rolled a 6 the first time around. I still managed to stop it. And then, unfortunately, though, the magic missile from this guy went off. Only killed one of these guys, but they did then let me down and fled, which is annoying because I was hoping to line up a rear charge on the Shabti. But it will not be, so they have run, although they could potentially rally before the end of the game. What else? Forgotten now. There wasn't any shooting. The Bone Giant here died a death. He only barely went down, to be honest. He killed another 2 Witch Elves. He made a lot of saves, but he crumbled just enough to be gone, even with the -2 to the crumble that constructs get. This one, on the other hand, was very jammy because I did 3 wounds and he saved all of them. And then he turned around and killed 2, but it wasn't enough to get them to flee. So they tied combat. They're stuck with him there. Sorry, no, they did lose combat, but he doesn't outnumber them, so they didn't auto break. And thanks to their lord and master being in eyesight of them, they held barely. So it's my last turn, and I need to do some more points to make this ambush really, really fail, and hopefully get my Dark Elves out of this horrible desert. Oh, I don't think I've done it. So Tomb King's final turn. He didn't manage to get the "I will be done's" to get the Tomb King into combat. I was actually tempted to let him get in with my Highborn and just see maybe could I kill. But to be honest, Tomb Guard, they've got Killing Blow, and the Tomb King is he's not been wounded yet, so I didn't want to let it go off, so I did stop it both times. The magic missile on the priest was out of range of my spearman, thankfully. The Scorpion ate my Corsairs, which was predictable, but I had to risk the charge last time to try and get enough combat damage to try and win the game. And then over here, I've been robbed. I did 2 wounds to the giant, but he managed to wound the Manticore back, which just stopped him from crumbling the full 3. He only crumbled 2. He would have crumbled 4. And yeah, he's fine. He's all alive, so I only get half points for this giant over here. So I don't know. It's close, but there are some expensive units. There's only 3 units, but I think that just short of doing the 2,000 points that I need to win. So I believe it's going to be a draw based on the victory conditions of this mission. But I will just quickly point it up and then come back and say how it's gone. Oh, I have, despite not killing the giant, just getting him below half has clenched it for me. I've won by, so I've got 2,192, which is 193 points more than I needed to win the game. So I've broken out of the trap. The Tomb Kings didn't wipe me out, and I killed enough of their stuff. The Tomb King himself is still alive, so he's very angry to watch me riding off with all his treasure. Lord Veruviel has redeemed himself in the eyes of the Druki people, and can perhaps now go home and buy himself some protection from Malekiths, or beg for his forgiveness by giving him a load of gold, I guess. On the other hand, actual game-wise, I think my MVP over here was this lady. She's just blown away tons and tons of things. And she got a Tomb Scorpion. She did a bunch of damage to the Tomb Guard, various other things. The Witches weren't too bad, actually. The ones that picked their targets a bit better. Bone Giants, Anthony's got unlucky with both of them, to be honest. Bone Giants are really, really good when they hit and charge. But he didn't manage to get any charges, so they both got flanked or rear charged. The Hydra surprised me because that survived. That doesn't normally happen, and it did kill stuff. So well done, Hydra. That's probably the best game you've had with me since I painted him. I think from the Tomb King side of things, it's always difficult with the big blocks of the Tomb Guard, because Tomb King and Tomb Guard are basically unkillable. But in a game like this, where I think mobility kind of means everything, it's a bit difficult. I'll be honest, I messed up because originally I thought that the defender had to be the bigger army. So originally I'd written the list thinking the Tomb Kings were defending, and then as we started recording the video, I realised I was wrong, and we had to re-rack with the Tomb Kings attacking, which made more sense because if you were 3,000 points and you just could sit in a big square in the middle, it's pretty much an unwinnable game. One thing that definitely I will say is they are very resilient when their Hierophant goes down. It made very little difference other than like the archers crumbling away. Pretty much the rest of the army held more or less through every single round of crumble. Those Scorpions were devastating. So it was a very hard fought game, and yeah, I think it was close. That last one, if the Bone Giant had managed to slice Veruviel dead and not take the wounds, then I think I probably would have lost. But no, well done. Nice game, nice battle. Thank you everyone for watching. We will be hopefully coming out with more battle reports. I want to try and just do more of the missions that people don't play very often, just because they're fun spectacles. Hope you enjoyed, especially with the thematic table.
yeah, so please do like, subscribe, it does help the channel, and comment on the videos if you like them. Thank you very much. See you next time.